Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 12 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a Q&A. Now, this is where I take all the questions that you've asked over the course of the week, and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. A few things that you need to know. First of all, thank you so much for joining me on this channel. I always say this every single week, but there wouldn't be a Magic TV without you. So thank you so much for being here, basically. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Genuinely, I do. Second of all, you're getting my raw and filtered opinions on these videos. So, if I think a question is going to take a bit too long to answer, then I'll probably get to it. I'll make a longer video about it at some point in the future. And finally, the other important thing is I want to get these questions over to me as soon as possible. I'm actually filming this quite late in the day. It's about 11 o'clock at night on a Wednesday, which is quite late. Thursday, sorry, it's quite late. Normally I film these way in advance, but because the Q&A didn't go up until Monday, I've pushed it back later. But you want a guarantee to get your questions answered. You want to kind of get these questions into me by Monday at the latest. Now, with that all being said, there are a lot of questions already I can see, so I'm going to get straight into it. We're not going to dilly-dally around any longer. We're going to get into this week's Q&A. Okay, so the first question is from Magic Gaia 6761, who says, weird question. I'm a female magician and I go to a lot of conventions because I love them. Often, when I talk to dealers, I'm often asked if I'm a magician. My usual reply in Blackpool is either, no, I'm here for the food, or no, I'm here for the weather. Brilliant. I have never thought too much about silly questions because I often thought they were just a way to start a conversation. However, I've realised that more than once, when I ask the dealer to show me some of their tricks, I don't get a full demo, so I end up thinking that some of the tricks are pretty bad. For example, fast forward in Blackpool, because I wasn't shown the selection of the trick, it just looked like an improved version of the baby gag, or rattle dice at Magic Live, because I was just shown a die that rattles. Oh my God, did I do that? Of course, I was demoing rattle dice at Magic Live. If I did that, I am so sorry. Please tell me it was Eric Tate, because he's the sort of person that would do that. My question is, do you think that sometimes dealers are just too tired, or sometimes people still struggle to realise that a female can be a magician, even if she's not hot, famous, or looks like a diva? It's a great question. I was speaking to Nicola Arcane about this, actually. I was interviewing Nicola Arcane the other day, and she talked about sort of women in magic, and she said that it's an uphill battle, and it's got a lot better, but it's still not where it needs to be. And I kind of agree. Unfortunately, I can't really relate too much about this. I can understand the problem, but I can't relate too much about it because obviously I'm not female. But if I was dealing with this situation and I felt like I wasn't being shown a full demo of something, I'd probably just turn around and say, is that actually the trick? Because honestly, that's terrible and I was genuinely thinking of buying this. But if that's what it is, then honestly, I really don't think I'm going to bother. Because here's the thing, right? Dealers, I've worked a lot of dealer booths in my time. And I can tell you, there's nothing harder than working a dealer booth. It is a really difficult thing to do, especially when you're running a 3-day convention. At the end of the 3 days, your feet are killing you. You've probably had people come up and ask you the same question a million times. I've talked about this on the channel before. You know, when you get somebody who comes up to you 10 times over the course of 2 days and asks you to show them the trick, exactly the same trick 10 times, and then goes, I'll come back. It grates you a little bit. And so I can imagine a lot of dealers, subconsciously more than anything else, if they perceive that somebody isn't likely to buy a trick, might half-ass the dem, just because they're kind of trying to save their energy. And it might not just be because they're female. Like, you know, I was demming at Blackpool, and was it Blackpool? It was Magic Live, sorry. And somebody came up to me and said, hey, can you show me what this is? And they were talking about Dragon Scale because I was in the Penguin booth. And it was somebody who was like 12 years old. or 13 or something. And I was like, well, it's quite expensive. It's like a $400 prop. I can show it if you'd like to, but there might be something else that would fit you better. I ended up showing him something else, and he bought that thing. Now, you could say that I really should have shown him that. So I was kind of half-arsing it in that respect. So, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I think it's less about dealers thinking that you're not really a magician, although there might be an element of that. I think it's more about they were probably tired and they're trying to conserve energy. I'd like to believe that's the case. But I think from your point of view, I think that the way you deal with that is you just turn around to them and you say, look, I've got money. I want to spend this money. Or do that thing that you know, one of my favourite films of all time is Pretty Woman. And I love the scene in the movie where Julia Roberts walks back into the, she was trying to get served in this shop in Beverly Hills, and they wouldn't serve her, and then she went back later and she had like all of these bags, and she was like, you work on commission, right? Big mistake, huge mistake. You know, if you get a shop that's like that, and they're purposefully not demming it to you, I'd wait until you've bought all your stuff, and I'd walk back with all of my bags, and I go, hey guys, do you remember me? And you didn't really want to give me a proper dem? Yeah, big mistake, huge mistake. That would be my approach, but then again, petty by name, petty by nature. Okay, so the next question is from Caleb D'Amico, who says, hi Craig, I just found out about the Alon Society, and I watched both of your lectures that are on there. They were both great. Thank you very much. Alon is amazing, and his society is incredible. Towards the business side, if starting out as a younger magician, what's the best way to start doing magic for money? To me, the restaurant magic area seems to be a great place to start in close-up magic. What restaurants would be the best place where I would try to start? Yeah, restaurants are great. Kid shows are really great as well. I know that some people will turn their nose up at kid shows, but, honestly, kid shows can make you a lot of money. The problem that you have sometimes if you're a younger magician is unless you've got like a really big profile or you've got a lot of social proof, some people could kind of look down on you and just kind of go, well, why am I booking this guy when, especially corporates and things like that where they're putting events on. Now, I'm not saying you can't get gigs like that, but it's more forgiving with kid shows. Ryland, for example, he does an absolute ton of kid shows. And, he absolutely loves doing them. And the thing with doing kid shows is it really helps you stand up in front of an audience. Close-up magic, you're going to learn how to do magic close-up, yes. But if you do a kid show, you're going to learn how to perform in front of a group of people. You're going to learn how to stand, how to walk. There's a lot of things that you're going to learn as a kids magician that will really help you if you're ever wanting to do stage magic, for example. So kid shows are a great way to do it, but obviously restaurant magic is as well. I would start with family restaurants. You tend to find that it's a lot easier to get into family restaurants than it is to get into sort of higher end restaurants. And the best way to do it is to just make a list of all of the family restaurants within a mile radius of your house, and then just ring them all up and just say, hey, how you doing? Can I speak to the manager, please? Yeah, my name's Craig. I just want to speak to him or her. And just say, hey, I'm a magician. I'm in your local area. And I'd love to come in and chat to you about what I can do to help your business grow. I'd like to talk to you about, I specialize in close-up magic at restaurants, and it's something that a lot of restaurants are using at the moment to increase their footfall, to get more people in the door, to give people a better experience. And, I'd love to speak to you about that. And then, go and speak to them and show them a trick and tell them what you do. And, you do that to enough people. It's a numbers game. That's what sales is. Sales is a numbers game. You do that to enough people and you're confident enough with it, you're going to have people book you to do a residency. It's all about law of averages. The more people you speak to, the more chance you have of somebody saying yes. But the important thing is to keep your attitude. That's the biggest problem that people have when they do sales. I meet a lot of people, and what will happen is they'll turn around to me and they'll say, I've spoken to 20 restaurants and they've all said no, and I feel terrible about it. And I always turn around to them and I say, well, you need to make sure that you are as positive with the 20th restaurant as you are with the first one. Because one of those probably would have booked you, because that's how the law of averages works. But if you kind of get to the point where you're just like, oh, this isn't working, and you don't come across as good as you did the first time, you're probably going to miss out. So just speak to as many restaurants as you can. And it's a numbers game. The more you speak to, the more that there is a chance that you'll say yes. When I first started in Close-Up Magic, restaurants were my thing. I did probably about 15 restaurants a week, and that's all I did. And then it was off the back of restaurants that I built my business. So restaurants are an amazing place to start. Okay, so the next question is from Dylan Williams Magic, who says, hey Craig, what's the best Rubik's Cube to perform tricks like Cube 3? I really like the Shenzhou Aurora 3x3 cube. However, it seems to be discontinued or out of stock everywhere. I personally don't want to buy Cube 3 again just for the cube because that's expensive. The ideal cube I want is a speed cube that looks like a Rubik's Cube. Do you have favourite cubes for Magic, and if so, why? The Refractor Project is the best one to go for. The Refractor Project. So if you go to rubikscubemagician.co.uk, that's Kev G and Colin Klaus's website, and it's all to do with learning cube magic, right? It is the #1 cube magic resource. It just is. Now on there, you're going to see the Refractor Cube, which is somewhere on there. If you go to, I'm looking at it right now. If you go to recommendations and you go to the best cubes for cube magic, you're going to see the Refractor Cube. Here we go. We definitely think magnetic cubes are the way forward as they make your moves smoother and more accurate. As there's currently a lot of choice, we've whittled these down to a handful we recommend for your consideration. The #1 we recommend is our own Refractor Cube, which we have available. There you go. It's great. But then they've got a blog on here about other cubes that are really good. So #1 is the Refractor Cube. It's quite well priced. It's just $30 and it looks like a real cube. But off that, they've also got the QY, the Volk 3 Elite M. And then the Diane Zanchi Pro M, which is the one that Ryland uses, by the way. Ryland uses the Diane Zanchi. So there you go. Any of those cubes will work really well. And also, the other thing about them is they all look like real Rubik's Cubes. So you're not going to have a problem. Okay, so the next question is from Carl Balmer, who says, Hi, Carl here. Hey, Carl, hope you're well. Hope you and Ryan are feeling better after Blackpool. I had a great time. The House of Secrets shows were awesome. Thank you, Carl. Carl came and watched some of Ryland's shows at the House of Secrets as part of Shows Am. I'm going to Chris Cross's convention in Newcastle at the end of April, so I'll see you there. Yes, Chris Cross has got a convention at the end of April, and me and Ryland are actually performing there. Matt's coming with us as well. So we're bringing the whole gang up to Newcastle. 2 questions. #1, Zulu Marino is going to be there from the Chris Cross convention. Have you met him? What do you think of his sponge-ball magic and unique techniques? Never met him. Bumped into him briefly at Magic Live, I think it was. And I've heard great things about his sponge ball magic. Haven't seen them. Can't wait. I believe he's got a project coming out at some point, maybe with Penguin. I can't remember exactly, but I'm looking forward to it because I'm a very big fan of unusual sponge ball routines. We'll have to see how that goes. And you've got a second question here, Carl. Lots of people do videos showing the dealers best tricks they've seen at Blackpool each year, but I guess you see a lot of people showing you their own routines and tricks. Maybe you could do a video showcasing any tricks, not a dealer product or an upcoming product test that's stuck in your mind. I don't think I can because a lot of people will show me stuff. You're right, Carl. But it's normally they're showing me something because they want my opinion on it. It's not something they want out in the open. They don't want other people to see it. Maybe it's a pet thing. Maybe it's something that's coming out in a couple of years. And I don't think I can portray that confidence by actually, showing it on a video. It's a great idea and I'd love to do that, but I think that a lot of people that show me stuff at Blackpool, they don't want it coming out. But I have got a video coming out of the 13 tricks the 13 best tricks at the Blackpool Magic Convention this year, in my opinion. And by the time you watch this, it'll be up because I believe it's scheduled to go up on Thursday. I'm filming this Wednesday night, so it's scheduled to go up on Thursday. So if you go and have a look on Magic TV, it's around about the Thursday time. you'll see that video. These are the 13 best tricks that I saw at Blackpool this year. Okay, so the next question is UK Navy Nige, who says, I was one of the ones who said not to expose the atomic deck. However, now with all this misinformation as an owner of one of these decks, I think you need to tell people the facts instead of idiots making up false rubbish. I filmed a video already that's meant to be going up on Friday. As I said, this is Wednesday night. But I think I'm going to push it back because I want to do a video, and you'll know whether I've done it or not because it will have gone up on Magic TV if I have. I want to do a video kind of just like addressing the stuff that people have been talking about. Unfortunately, the atomic deck has caused a lot of people to come out of the woodwork. And it's not about the online reviewers, you know, like people who have bought it that, you know, want to review it can do so. Absolutely not a problem. You know, people can make their own mind up about the trick. That's fine. But it's the people in the comments that are like commenting that don't even own the trick, that are saying it. How people can say it's the worst trick ever, I don't know. Especially when everyone who's bought it absolutely loves it. And I've been on with a bunch of people over Zoom, you know, helping them and kind of showing them the best way to perform it and so on and so forth. And the feedback I've had about it has just been amazing. And everyone who's bought it loved it. And a lot of the facts that people are saying just aren't true. Or it's people maybe misunderstanding the atomic deck and misunderstanding exactly what it's all about. You know, that people are making a big deal over stuff that's really not a big deal. And anyone who I've spoken to that actually owns it, they find that kind of thing quite funny. So I think you're right. Honestly, I really think you're very, very right. I think that I need to make some sort of video. I don't know if it's going to be an exposed video, but it's going to be something. So you'll know if I've made it, because it'll probably gone up by now. Okay, so the next question is not a question, apparently. It's from Elkie, who says, Hey, Craig, no question this week. A comment regarding performing for those with opposing politics. While I understand the premise of a gig's a gig, there's a couple of factors here that you might not have considered. As someone who's marginalised and whose rights are currently under attack, I could not feel comfortable associating my name with a political rival, or even if I wasn't on the receiving end, it'd be a betrayal of my friends who would suffer because of the money made at the fundraiser. The more people enjoy my magic, the more dollars get raised, the more people get hurt. And in my case, as someone who hopes to make work for marginalised people, if it came out that I took that gig, those groups wouldn't want to see my show, and it could become artistic suicide that would directly hurt my income later on. I get this is a unique case and everyone has a different line, but sometimes what seems like overthinking to one is just thinking to another. No, you know what, Elkie? You're completely right. Elkie is referencing a question on last week's Q&A when somebody asked me about my opinion of working for somebody whose political beliefs do not align with your own, and it's a fundraiser for their political campaign or something like that. You know what? You're right. And there's no right or wrong with this, and it is a very difficult situation. And I'm not in that situation to be able to answer that question properly because I'm not in the same situation as you. If I was, I'd probably feel differently. But honestly, man, I really appreciate you sharing your viewpoint on that, and I totally understand where you're coming from. Okay, so the next question is from the legend Archie Cox Magic. Hello, Archie. Hope you're well. So nice to see you at Blackpool, and thanks so much for all your kind words. Thank you so much, Archie. I picked up the Atomic Deck, Absolute Madness, and the Spectrum Sharpie, and I can't wait to start looking at these. Awesome. I really appreciate your support. I've also just started learning Focus, and I'm wondering what your process is for watching longer tutorials. Do you make notes of the tricks that you like and practice those ones first, or do you have another way? Thanks as always. I'm fairly sure I answered this question before from somebody else recently, but briefly, if I'm watching a long tutorial, I'll watch the first bit. There's normally a bit at the beginning where you actually find out how the trick works. So I'll watch that bit. And then if there's multiple routines, I'll watch the performances of all of those routines, and I'll figure out which ones of those I like. Because you can watch a tutorial, and you can watch a trick, a performance of a trick, and immediately go, yes, I like that. No, that's okay, but that's not really my sort. That I really don't like. So I'd go through, with Focus, using Focus as an example, there's like 40 tricks on there. So I'd probably make a piece of paper, write down the names of the 40 tricks, and I'd rate it out of 10. And that rating would be based purely on whether I could see myself performing it, and no other criteria. And then what I'd do is I'd go back and I'd pick the 5 highest rated tricks, And those are the ones that I would learn. I'd go out and I'd learn it, I'd get them down, I'd practice it, I'd go out and perform it, and then maybe I'd learn another 5 and then another 5. Because the thing is, you can't learn everything off a project. It's almost impossible, right? So you learn the ones that speak to you the best. And that's different for everybody. One person might like one thing, while another person might like something else. So, you know, you kind of decide that way. But I really appreciate you picking up all my stuff. Thank you very much. And you've got the book. You've got Absolute Madness. I know that you're trying to do a lot of easier stuff at the moment. Check out the Karan's medallion routine. Check out Craig's medallion. It's a killer. It really is. Okay, so the next question is from Different Magician, who says, can you do a video on how to run a Google Ads campaign for a magician? The right headlines, the keywords, the budgets, and things like that. This has to be on the silver section of the Netrix. That's fine. By the way, I have now updated the website with your suggestions, new photos with people smiling, most of which were black tie events from December. And most importantly, I've made a new show reel and updated the hero image as you said. I haven't had time to do the last thing you said, which was to change the FAQ to a third person, but the show reel and photos are changed for the better now. Very good, Archie. Great stuff. I probably will do a Google Ads thing on the Netrix. I'm getting a lot of experts over the course of the next couple of months to do some additional content for the silver level of the Netrix on stuff like networking and Google Ads and stuff and so on and so forth. And the reason that it would be in the Netrix is just because I think a lot of people on YouTube wouldn't really care about that sort of thing. They really wouldn't. And I don't really do Google Ads myself these days. So when I first started my business, I did Google Ads myself. Myself and my business partner at the time, Russell Leeds, we ran all of the Google Ads campaigns and we immersed ourselves in it. And the thing with running a Google Ads campaign is you have to keep on top of it constantly. Because Google's constantly changing. And one thing might work one week and it won't work the next week. And if you don't get it 100% correct, you are literally throwing money down the toilet. I have met people that have run Google Ads campaigns that are literally throwing money down the toilet. They really are. And I've seen that. I've seen it over and over and over again. So you have to keep on top of it. And what's happened is in the last few years, because I've been so busy doing other things, I've outsourced a lot of my Google Ads to David Kahn. He runs a company called OMS, and he manages my Google Ads campaign, basically, for all of my companies. Because his team are brilliant at it, and I've seen so much more success with them managing my ads than me managing it myself. Now, the problem with that is I have to pay him for it, and he's not cheap. But he's worth every penny, but only when you get to that level. You're probably not at that level yet. So until you get to that level, do it yourself. But it's really important that you don't half-arse it, because if you do half-arse it, you're literally going to throw money down the toilet. But the other thing that I would say on this subject is, as well as running PPC, that's pay-per-click, that's basically what Google Ads campaign is, as well as running pay-per-click, you also want to run at the same time SEO, because for those people that don't know the difference, pay-per-click is when you have an advert that is displayed when you Google search for a particular search phrase, right? And you'll see it's sponsored ad, right? And you pay when somebody clicks on the ad and you're bidding against other people and so on and so forth. But when you focus on SEO or search engine optimization, that's when you will organically appear at the top, right? That's when you'll organically appear at the top of page one, or whatever the case may be. And realistically, the goal is to do both. The goal is to organically appear on page one, but at the same time also display as an advert on page one, because then you dominate the search rankings. But SEO is better, but it takes longer to build that up. So, it can take 2 or 3 years to really, really, really effectively make your SEO work for you. So what I would suggest is just constantly, every single day, little and often, every single day, do work on your SEO. It's that old expression, isn't it? When's the best time to do the SEO? 3 years ago. When's the next best time to do it? Right now. Do not put off to tomorrow what you can do today. And you can run your PPC campaign, but make sure your SEO is up there as well. Okay, so the next question is from Hairy Vagrant 3281, who says, "Hey Craig, what's your thoughts on Sean Devine and his review on the Atomic Deck? Really ripped into you." Yeah, he did, and I think that I've made my feelings clear on this. I don't think I need to say anything else. I disagree with the review, obviously, but it's his prerogative, it's his opinion. I'm filming this and literally filming it just after he put a part 2 up where he kind of apologised for being harsh, and he actually said in the part 2 he never actually watched the tutorial. So he opened up the trick, and based on just opening up the trick, he got really mad and he was having a bad day, and he just filmed the review because he was upset with the trick and how the trick worked and didn't watch the tutorial. So the video was actually, the review was done based on just looking at the trick, not on the actual, just looking at the physical product, not watching any of the tutorials. So that kind of makes me understand why he said what he said. And Sean's a good guy. I really, really like his channel. And, you know, it's his prerogative to say whatever he wants to. My issue with anything like this is when anything like this happens, you get a load of people in the comments on those videos that will just come out and just demolish me. And as you saw on the Magic News, if you watched the Magic News last week, it kind of really got to me. Not the review, but the comments on the review really upset me. Because I try really hard to do the right thing. And, you know, I listen to what everybody says. Oh, Craig rants. Okay, I won't rant. Craig does this. Okay, I won't do that. Craig does that. Okay, I won't do that. And you can't please everybody. And I was feeling very down in the dumps, and I've kind of had an epiphany now where I'm just like, you know what? People can say whatever they want to say about me. You know, it's funny that, you know, you see a lot of the comments, and I look at when the YouTube account was created, and it was like created yesterday. It tells me everything I need to know. So whatever. Sean's a good guy. If there's one thing I wish he'd have done is I wish he'd have actually reviewed the product after watching the tutorials, because I think his opinion would have been different. But he doesn't like the trick. That's fine. That's cool. That's not a problem. He's entitled to his opinion. And I think his channel's great, and I think he's a good guy. Other people I know love it. You can't love everything. You can't love everything. There's certain tricks that I absolutely hate that people love, and I can't understand why people love them. Because I hate them. But, you know, it is what it is. I've had conversations with this about people. There's tricks for companies that I work for, and I can't understand why people like them. I just can't get it. I just don't get it. But, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. He didn't like the trick. That's fine. And that doesn't stop my opinion on Sean, which I think is a really good guy. And if anybody hasn't subbed his channel, you really should do, because he's a knowledgeable guy, and his videos are really better produced than mine when I'm sitting in front of a bookshelf. So, you know, go and subscribe to Sean Devine. Okay, so Tom Winder says, the book is great. I love it. I hope you're talking about Absolute Madness. Thank you, buddy. Having the full performance of all the tricks is so helpful. Very proud of my signed copy. I had Eric sign it as well as Craig. Eric wrote, don't read any of this crap. Typical Eric Tate. Dear me, that Eric Tate. If people don't know, Eric Tate ghost writ Absolute Madness. So I sent him thousands of videos, and he did the most horrifying thing that anybody would have to do, which is get into my head and write the book for me. And he is incredible. Eric Tate is one of my favourite people in Magic. And, you know, we said at the very beginning, it needed to be like Magic TV in book form, which is why the full performance is there. Because Magic TV, I tried to summarise what Magic TV is all about. And it's all about me, it's about Ryland, it's about performances, and it's about advice, and it's about really cool tricks. Now, that's what it was at the time when we started writing this about 3.5 years ago. If I was going to do another book now, spoiler, then I'd also include Matt in that list. But unfortunately, when I started putting this book together, it was before the Muggles Magician. So having Matt in the mix didn't really make sense back then. He was a guy that reacted to Magic, that worked in my office, and now has become a huge part of Magic TV. So I wish that Matt had more to do with the book, but, you know, book number 2 will get Matt involved. Okay, so the next question is from Far8896, who says, hi Craig, hope you're doing well. I'm very well, thank you very much. I have 2 related questions about kids' Magic kits. My 9-year-old nephew has recently shown an interest in Magic, and I really want a Magic kit set. Initially, I considered getting him a Magic book, but he's adamant about having a kit instead. Which magic kit would you recommend as a suitable gift for him? Additionally, while searching kids' magic kits, I came across a discussion on a well-known forum about illusionists how to read minds kit for kids. Many people in the thread strongly believe that children shouldn't be learning or performing mentalism routines. What's your opinion on this? Thanks in advance. Right, number one. I haven't seen Illusionist kit, but it is literally winging its way towards me. So I'll have it any day now, and I'm going to do a full video on it. And I'm going to get Ryland and Thea involved in this video because they are kids. And I'll talk more about the Illusionist thing in a second. In terms of magic kits and what to get him, I don't think you can go wrong with either the Alakazam Amazing Magic range. Some of the Amazing Magic range you could do as a pro. Just, you could. It's as simple as that. The other is Marvin's Magic range of magic, especially kind of the higher end deluxe executive set with the dynamic coins and delights and stuff like that. I think that's a great set because here's the thing. I think that you need to give a kid, if they're getting into magic, you need to give them a bit of instant gratification. You know, the problem with a book is they have to sit there and they have to wade their way through it. But with an Amazing Magic range kit or with you know, something like that, you really do have instant gratification. Take something like dynamic coins. You can show somebody dynamic coins and within 10 minutes they can be performing it and doing a fantastic job with it, right? So, and that then becomes addictive. And part of the thing when you're teaching somebody magic is make them realize how cool magic is. I actually wrote about this in Absolute Madness, how to raise a magical kid. I think I'm probably the only person to write an essay on that subject. But I talked about this in great detail. But yeah, instant gratification is important, which is why I think the How to Read Minds Kids Magic Kit will be good. Because from what I know, it's like really good magic built into kids' things. So it's like it's a book but it's the Jungle Book with a book test built into it. It's a force bag built into a pencil case. And I think that's a blooming amazing idea. For anybody who says children shouldn't be learning mentalism routines, I couldn't disagree more. Why the hell not? Oh, kids can't do mentalism because it's going to devalue the art of mentalism. Oh, shut up. No, it's not. It's not at all. Not in any way, shape or form. It's not going to devalue magic at all. It's not going to devalue mentalism at all. You know, I mean, Ryland at the age of 10 went out and did mentalism on AGT in both the audition and in the semi-final. And it was presented as a kid would do mentalism. And it worked, you know, with the whole scam written on the desk and stuff like that. It just worked. So, yeah, I disagree. I think it's quite snobby. And I think that this is probably a set that kids would love. And I think that, you know, it's going to teach them how to perform. It's going to teach them how to actually perform this magic properly. So, you know, I don't see an issue with it at all, in my opinion. But that's only my opinion. Okay, so the next question is from Divishan Magician, who says, what are some non-card routines that would be good to do with the Timeline app? It's a great question, Divishan. So if you don't know what the Timeline app is, it's used by a lot of people. Jasper Cherry used it in America's Got Talent. Sean Hayden used it in Britain's Got Talent. It's basically, it allows you to show your phone and ask a spectator how many minutes they want to go back in time. And let's say they say 6 minutes. You show the time on your phone and it ticks back 6 minutes. And then when it gets back to, so it just reverses the time on the phone. And then when everybody else looks at their phone, the time is accurate. So it's like the entire audience has gone back in time. And most people use it for Triumph because it kind of makes sense being used in the context of Triumph because obviously, you know, Triumph is the perfect thing. Because you shuffle the cards and then if they go back in time 6 minutes, you know, the cards have unshuffled themselves or whatever the case may be. So Divishan's asking what else it would be good. And so this is off the top of my head. The first thing that I would say is potentially some sort of bill switch. If you did $100 bill switch, potentially. So you could borrow a £10 note and have them sign it and then show the signature and then say, how many minutes do you want to go back in time? 4 minutes, okay. I'm going to go back in time 4 minutes and fold the bill up and then tell them to look at the phone. And when they unfold it, you're 4 minutes back in time to before they even signed the bill in the first place. And then you give them the bill back. That would be quite a cool thing. And then you could even go forward in time again if you wanted to and bring the signature back. Or you effectively rung in a bill then where you could be in control of the serial number, for example. So that sort of thing would work quite well. I did a coins across years and years and years ago that used a devil's hank. If you don't know what a devil's hank is, it's a handkerchief with a pocket in it. It used a devil's hank to vanish, and it used 2 watch straps, one of those watch straps that, one of those watches that you can like slide up your wrist to get the sort of watch that comes with Heist from Vanishing Ink. And what I would do is I would do a coins across. Was it a coins across? It was years ago. I did a coins across or something like that, but I took my watch off at the beginning and I put the watch in the bag and I had them feel it and I had them hold the corners of the bag and they waved their bag over the coins, and as they did, they jumped into the glass because that's it. They started in the glass, and then what would happen is you'd say, look, so they start in the glass. So you take the watch off, you put the watch in the devil's handkerchief, you get them to hold on to the ends. They're holding on to the watch in the devil's hand, but it's actually in the secret compartment, but they can feel it in there. You then drop the 4 coins into the glass, and then you take the coins out and you say, I'm going to make them go from my hand into the glass by making them go forward in time. Making them go back in time a few seconds to when they were in the glass in the first place. So wave it over my hand. So then wave the watch over and boom, the first one goes. And then boom, the second one goes. Boom, the third one goes. And boom, the fourth one goes. So it was a premise for the coins going into the glass. But then what I did as a kicker finish is I'd say if I wanted to, I could take everything back in time about 5 minutes. And I'd take the handkerchief off them. I'd open up the handkerchief. The watch would be gone. And then it would be back on my wrist. Because obviously I had a duplicate watch up my sleeve. So as I pulled my sleeve up and took the watch off and I put my sleeve down, the other watch was there so that I could then show, a bit Tommy Wonder-esque, right? You could do that with the Timeline app very, very easily. So you could do the coins across presentation, but then you could say, let's see if we can go further back in time. Rather than just trying to go back in time 1 minute, and they're still holding on to watch at this point, how many minutes would you like to go back in time? And let's say they say 6 minutes. So you put the phone there and you go, look, we're going to go back in time 6 minutes. You then take the thing off them, wave it over, and you say, we're back in time 6 minutes. And they see the clocks go back and you say, look, proof. 6 minutes ago, it wasn't here. And they can look on their watches first and make sure you are back in time 6 minutes. You can go, look, 6 minutes ago, there wasn't even a watch in this handkerchief. And the reason is, put the handkerchief away, the watch was on my wrist the entire time. And so that would be a great premise for the Timeline app. I'm just spitballing stuff here, Divishan, to be honest. But that would work really well. I like the idea of that. That's kind of a smart thing. That would work really well. In that respect, you could also do sponge ball magic and go back in time. I know you like sponge balls. I've seen it on your trailer. So you could do sponge ball magic and go back in time with the sponge ball thing. So you could start off by giving them 2 balls and have them hold 2 balls. And then you could take one, put one in your hand, put one in their hand, have it go back in time for 2 minutes. Now it's in your hand. So anything where something is happening like that, you could use Timeline as a premise for. So a quiver, for example, you could use a quiver. So you could have something in a quiver, like some coins. You could put the quiver down. You could take the coins, do a multiple click pass, wave, the coins vanish. Why do the coins vanish? Well, they don't vanish. They just go back in time inside the quiver. Boom. And then you show the watch. You show the phone as part of that presentation. You could have something written down on a piece of paper. You could have somebody sign something, and then when you go back in time, the signature's gone from there. There's lots of different options like that. That is where that would be my starting point. The way to actually approach this is to think, right, okay, what premise fits within a time travel presentation? And forget about method for now. Forget about method. Just think about effect. What effect would fit within a time travel presentation? And then see how you can use timeline to strengthen that. Okay, so the next question is from Josh Does Magic, who says, hi Craig, hi Josh. The close-up competition is coming up in a few months at my local magic club. What would you do to help create a routine, and what advice do you have? The act has to be between 8 to 10 minutes. I mainly do cards and sponge balls, but I do other few bits as well. I love the Netrix. Thanks, Josh. And somebody's replied, or Divishan's replied and said, try to think of a way to bridge the cards and sponge balls together. For example, I do cups and balls and I do coins across. So I found a natural way to link them by saying I'll make this easier by just using one cup and not three, and then going into coin to cup. Ryland does cubes and the cups and balls, so he found a way to link them by making the final load a mini cube and going full circle. Find a way to link sponge balls and cards naturally. Well, screw you, Divishan. You've just taken my answer away from me. What he said, what Divishan said, is absolutely perfect. When you're thinking about a magic competition, what you want to do is you want to think about, Divishan's calling it bridging, I call it transitions. It's basically the same thing. Transitioning from one piece to another. And ideally try to bring things full circle. Ryland's competition act, when he did his close-up competition, was to have a cube thing, and then he finished with cups and balls and he made 3 cubes of it. So think about how you can actually bring everything full circle, because a lot of the time the points are awarded in this type of competition based on the structure of the routine, as opposed to just doing trick after trick after trick, right? And on that point, when you're entering a competition, find out what the marking criteria is. So for example, different competitions have different marking criteria. Marking criteria for a lot of competitions is appearance, right? I never wear a suit, but you know what? When I go, if I entered a close-up competition tomorrow and 10 points were allocated towards appearance, you would see me in a 3-piece suit. Why? Because what's the point of me not having those 10 points? I would look as good as I possibly can look. So try to find out what the marking criteria is and try to fit what you're doing within the marking criteria. And think of a way that you can actually think about a narrative that you can give, or a thing that you can do for this competition act that makes it unique for you. Think about a thing, right? I don't know what that thing is. I don't know what that thing's going to look like. You know, one of my favourite competition acts of all time was Rob James's laptop act. And he set the premise of, you know, I've got this laptop here and it's running in the background, but it's going to count every single time a bad magician's joke is said. And throughout his act, he did a bunch of magician's jokes, like not that hand, the clean hand. If you get the urge, stop. But if you get the urge, why would you stop? And every single time he did it, you got a ding, and the number on the laptop went up by 1, which was very, very funny. And that's the other thing. Try to make it so that there's comedy or there's things in there that are obviously put together for a competition, right? So ding, ding, it was a running gag, everything was funny, but it was brought full circle because that final number is where the card was found in the deck, right? So yeah, that sort of thing is what you want to think about. Think of the premise for the whole act and try to think something that's unique to you. Think about who you are, what you're into, and try to make that whole premise as unique as possible. Okay, so the next question is from Punkala, who says, hi Craig, hey Punkala. Invisible Palm stroke Open Travelers is one of my favourite plots in Magic. Well, it's amazing, isn't it? But it has some weak points. I took 2 of the cleanest handlings I've seen, combined them into a new routine and filmed it for you. Could you tell me what you think? Side notes, it's subtitled because it's in English, is too much for me. And 2, I'm fairly new to Magic. I'd love to see it. Where do I see it? How do I see it? Let me know. I want to see it. Drop it in the comments to next week's Q&A, and I will actually watch it in the Q&A, and I will tell you exactly what I think, and I will not hold back. I love Open Travelers. I love Invisible Palm. Yes, 100%. Give me that link. Okay, so the next question is Just Josh 483, who says, question for you, Craig. Any thoughts on how to pitch Magic to higher end hotels? Figure out why they need a magician and tell them that. That's sales 101, right? Everybody has a pain point. Figure out what their pain point is and then offer them the solution, ideally before they realize it's an issue in the first place. So figure out, you know, I spend a long time booking events for Slightly Unusual and Non-Stop Kids. There's certain things that I know that when people are ringing up to book a kid's entertainer, they don't want to have the hassle of booking a kid, doing a kid's party themselves. They want to get a professional in. So you say to them, hey, we will do everything for you. It's a completely hassle-free experience. You won't have to worry about anything. We will do the whole thing for you. You give them the solution to the problem that they didn't even know they had. It's the same with a wedding. When you're booking magic for a wedding, you tell them what it is that you can do for them. You know, if somebody's ringing up to have a magician at a wedding, it's because they're looking to probably have something. They've already organised a lot of stuff, and they're thinking of things that they can do in particular periods of time in the wedding that traditional entertainment won't work. And so you tell them that. You go in and you say, hey, let me explain to you why magic works really well. You've got two groups of families, blah, 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 blah. So with a high-end restaurant, figure out what they need help with. Now, it's not always getting more customers in. If it's a higher-end hotel, that's probably not the reason that they would consider having a magician. What is the reason? Could it be because they're too busy and so they've got walkouts and people are coming in and there's no tables and they have to go somewhere else? In which case, say to them, hey, if you've got somebody who's coming in, send them into the bar area. I'll keep them entertained until the table's ready. That might be music to their ears, because it might be that they're going to go, that's exactly what we need. It might be that they have a problem with people vacating the tables. So you can turn around to them and say, I can help with that. I can take people when they've finished their desserts and take them in the bar and show them magic and help them to vacate their table, but in a way that they want to go because they want to see the magic. Think about why, and you can literally just say to them, what is it? Have you ever considered having magic at a wedding? Having magic at a restaurant or a hotel, and then ask them, how do you see this working for you? And listen to the conversation that you have. A lot of the time, restaurant owners and hotel owners, they think that, or managers, they think that magic is just, walking around and doing some tricks. But there's so much more that it can do for a hotel and a restaurant, and you need to put that across. You need to let them know as part of the sales process exactly what it is that you can do for them. And the thing that's going to sell you to a restaurant or a hotel is not the magic, because there's a million other magicians. If you're trying to sell them on just the magic, there's other people that are going to be better than you. So don't sell them on the magic, sell them on you. Get people excited about wanting to work with you. If they're excited about working with you, nobody else can be you. So they're going to have to basically say yes to you. So, there's more to it than that, but that's kind of the first thing. Think about why that hotel would need a magician, and then tell them why you think they'll need a magician. Okay, so the next question is from Darren Gregg, who says, what happened to David Copperfield's moon vanish? Wasn't it supposed to happen in February last year? I heard no mention of it at all. Has he abandoned it? Do you think he'll ever genuinely intended to do it? What are your thoughts? Thanks, Darren Gregory. I think he definitely intended to do it. I think it was definitely intended to be a special. And obviously, now it's not happening. Whether it will happen or not, I don't know. But it's obviously not happening. And nobody's mentioning it. They're hoping it's going to go away. Now, there's a few reasons for that. Maybe they had a way of actually making the moon vanish and it didn't work. Maybe they thought that it would be exposed on social media, because it's a totally different ball game these days with social media now versus how it was when he made the Statue of Liberty disappear, for example. Maybe it's something to do with the fact that there's been a bit of bad press around David Copperfield and certain islands, and they didn't want to put a massive light on David Copperfield until all of that has been cleared up. I don't know. I don't know David Copperfield well enough. I don't know him at all. I would be just guessing at this point. What I do know for certain is it was definitely meant to happen, and now it's not. And nobody in their camp is talking about it, which means that they're wanting it to go away. So whether we actually see it happen, I probably doubt it. But hey, you never know. I've been wrong before. Okay, so the next question is from Milo Jupiter. It says, hi Craig, I'm part of the Young Magicians Club and I'm putting together a Wild West themed stage act for J-Day. I was wondering any ideas of how you... What? for Trade Day, and I was wondering if you have any ideas on how to put a sort of wall inside a bottle so you can have liquid on one side of the bottle and a different one on the other side. Well, you can get mirror glass. What you're describing here is a mirror glass, but with a bottle. So you're describing a mirror glass, and the mirror glass is basically a glass with a piece, with a divider inside, which is a mirror. But the mirror makes it look like the glass is empty. The glass is kind of textured in such a way that it looks like the glass is empty. Now, the way that this sort of thing is typically used is you'd have, for example, okay, so for example, you'd have like a silk, let's say it's a white silk handkerchief in one side of this mirror glass, and in the other side, you'd have a little bit of slush powder. So what you do is you pour some milk or you do something like that, some white liquid into the glass. It would solidify, and then when you turn the glass over, what would happen is the silk would fall out and the glass would look empty because you're just rotating it as you're turning it over. So mirror glasses are a thing. Mirror bottles, however, I've never heard of. Mirror bottle magic trick. I don't know how you'd put a... You probably need to ask somebody. Glass and... Okay, we've got a 21st... What's this? 21st century mirror glass. Now, that's a glass. So there's lots of mirror glasses coming up. Some of them look very good. Some of them look very nice. But all of them are just mirror glasses. I haven't seen any mirror bottles. But that's what you're after. You're after a mirror bottle. And I don't know where you'd get one from. I don't even know if they make them. I don't know, buddy. I don't know. That's what you want. You want a mirror. So I understand exactly what you're trying to achieve here. You're talking about how... you're talking about having... hang on, let me do it. You're talking about having a wall inside a bottle so you can put liquid in one side and a different one in the other side, yeah. I don't know how to put it in a bottle. I'm really sorry. I'm not clever enough for that sort of thing. I would speak to people that make props. I'd speak to somebody like that. Reach out to Drew Perry. Drew's a genius. If anybody could work this out, it's Drew Perry. Speak to John Morton. Reach out to both of those guys. They can probably help you. But in terms of me, I'm really sorry. I have no idea. Okay, so Adrian Triton says, "Hey Craig, have you seen the Gnome yet? Great new magazine by Miles." No, I haven't seen the Gnome. Are we talking Miles Thornton here? He's the only Miles I know in Magic. Miles Thornton, the Gnome. The Gnome.com. No, I haven't. I need to contact Miles Thornton. The Gnome, his website is the-gnome.com. And there's been an issue 1. The Gnome is a little magazine created by Miles Thornton to share tricks and ideas and other magical content. The first issue features coincidence on command, an ACAN style effect that requires no stack, no memory work, no forces, and can be performed with a regular deck of cards. Sounds great. I created the Gnome because I was growing tired of digital downloads and I wanted to produce a fun, tangible piece of magic that's exciting to receive through the post. For the debut edition, I wanted to include one of my favourite effects to perform, which also happens to be a great magician fooler. Each issue of the Gnome will be numbered and each will feature a trick that could have been a standalone release. All the artwork, illustrations and design are created by myself. I'll be running the shop as a one-man operation. There are no fixed release dates, so be sure to keep an eye on the website and social media to see when the next issue drops. If you decide to pick up the Gnome, thank you for your support. I truly hope you enjoy it. Wow. I'm going to subscribe to that. That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. So there you go. I will subscribe to it. And Miles, if you're watching this, reach out to me. I'd love to do an interview with you about this. I am full on board with anybody that's bringing out a new Magic magazine. Love my Magic magazines. There you go. You heard it here. The Gnome by Miles Thornton. Let's go support it. Okay, so the next question is from Stephen Devereaux, who says, "Hey Craig, love your channel. Thank you very much. Why is it that people that hate you and talk down your tricks always watch your videos? Also, I bet they buy your tricks without anybody knowing and performing them and get great reactions, but they'll never admit it. Thanks, Stephen Rue. Yeah, man. Look, here's the thing. I got very upset earlier on this week when I did the magic news because of the comments, really, to be honest, more than anything else. The comments in the video, I actually even was just like, oh, I need to slow down with this. This is driving me up the wall. Here's the thing, right? People leave comments, and I've been told, ever since I came back into this industry, I've been told I'm like Marmite. Some people love Craig and some people hate Craig. And I hear that all the time. And I try to listen to what people say, and I try to act on it. So people say, hey, we don't like it when Craig rants, so I've stopped ranting. And then people say, oh, Craig's not sincere anymore. I preferred it when he was ranting. And it's like, you just can't win. And then there's a lot of the time, there's comments that come on when I bring a trick out or I put a video out or something. You'll see comments all the time. And if you want to know the sort of comments I'm talking about, just go look at Sean Devine's review of Atomic Deck and you'll see them on there. Go look at Everything Pro Magic and look at his Blackpool thing and look at the comments in there. You'll see the sort of thing that I'm talking about. And you know what? Here's the thing. Two things on this. Three things on this. So, number one, a lot of the time it's completely fake accounts. Like I was reading some of the comments and it really upset me. And then Sarah was like, let me show you this. And she was like, this is this comment. I'm like, yeah, it's horrible. And she went, yeah, it is horrible. Look at this. And she showed me that the guy literally made an account that day to make that comment. He'd made an account that day. That person had made an account that day to make that comment. And she was like, look at this one. And it was the same. Somebody had made an account that day. Look at this one. And she was pointing out that a lot of these comments were made by people who had made an account in the last day or two, specifically to make a comment about me, but didn't want me to know who they are. I mean, that tells me everything that I need to know about that type of person. If they haven't got the balls to actually say who they are, I'm not going to listen to their opinion. Oh, Craig's the worst person in the world because of this, but I don't want anyone to know who I am. I can't take that seriously. The second thing that's worth noting is that you're right. A lot of the people that say how horrible I am and how terrible I am, they reference my videos. They'll reference stuff that I've said in a video a couple of days ago or in a week ago. They watch all of my content. Probably drives them up the wall, right? Look, I know that there's going to be people in the comments of this video saying Craig's got an ego. Yeah, pretty right. I have got an ego. And here's the thing. You may love me, you hate me, but you're watching everything that I do. You're watching everything that I say. All these people that are leaving comments about how terrible I am and referencing things I've said, they're watching all of my videos. If I don't like something, I just don't watch it. It's as simple as that. If I hate something as much as these people hate me, so that, they want to comment on it and they want to create fake accounts commenting on it, I'm not going to watch it. They're kind of obsessed a little bit. It's a little bit sad, really. It's a bit pathetic. And the other thing is, I can't change their mind. I've tried really hard to be the person that I feel like everybody wants me to be. I've tried really hard. And I can't change their mind. Here's the thing. In order to make them happy, I have to fundamentally go against who I am. And all the people that love me, they love me because of who I am. So if I change that, I'm now going against everybody that supported me from day one. I'm not going to do that. Here's the thing, right? The bottom line is I am who I am. You may love me, you hate me. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. And that's not a problem. And here's the ego thing. And it took me a while to get to this point. So I was feeling very low the other day. And you do that when you read a comment and it's like, you read 100 comments and it's like, Craig's a terrible magician. Craig's a terrible magician. Craig's the worst magician in the world. I can literally see every single trick that Craig does. How can Craig ever get bookings? This. You see it all and you go, well, hang on a minute. Maybe I am that bad. And then I had to remind myself. And here's the ego thing. And this is a message to every single person. that has ever put something negative about me online, here is the message to you. Because here's the thing, the only people that do that are people that don't know me. If you know me, if you've spent any time with me, you wouldn't feel that way at all. Here's the message to everyone who's had something negative to say about me. Carry on. Do what you want. Because here's the thing. I do more in one day for this industry than most of you will do in your entire career. I've won every major award that there is in this industry. In the last 8 months, I think I've been off the top spot at Penguin's Inventor of the Year, probably a week, 2 weeks at the most, and that's based on sales. People are buying my stuff. People are going and performing it. There is no creator that is around at the moment that is as prolific and as well known as me. I have won every award there is to win. I have every production company around the world wanting to work with me. And away from this industry, I have built big businesses. Nobody performs as hard as me. Nobody performs as often as me. And I have literally hundreds of people working for me that are making a living as an entertainer because of what my companies are doing. I have achieved more in this industry. If I stopped right now, there is nobody around at the moment that will come close to doing what I've done. That is not me being egotistical. That is a downright, flat-out fact. So anybody that wants to say I'm terrible, great. Because here's the thing. I have achieved all that with you thinking I'm terrible. So step up. Knock me off the top spot. Create a trick that's better than anything anybody has ever seen. Knock me off the #1 sellers list. Go and set up a YouTube channel that gets more interest. Go and have every production company wanting to work with you. Because here's the thing, I'm dealing with facts, not opinion. Oh, it's my opinion that Craig's not a very good magician. Well, it's a fact that my company runs 18,000 events a year and turns over $1 million plus. So all of those clients must be happy for one reason or another. Oh, Craig's creations are terrible. Well, here's the thing. They all sell out. Atomic Deck sold out faster than any trick in the last decade. You're welcome. You may think I'm terrible. It may be your opinion. I am dealing with facts right now. And yeah, I know I'm going to have people saying, they're going to screen grab this, they're going to capture this, they're going to go, Craig's got such a massive ego. You know what? I have to remind myself sometimes what I have achieved, because every single person that says something negative about me, they're either hiding behind a fake account or on their best day, they couldn't come close to me on my worst. These people that slag off my performances, at least I'm putting myself out there. At least I'm putting videos out every single day. At least I'm putting videos out of me performing. What are they doing? Are they doing that? And because most of these people, 99.999% of these people, have never even put a video out. They criticize everything I do. Oh, Craig's got the worst double lift in the world. Well, here's an idea. Show me your double lift. I don't want to. Okay. Craig's the worst magician in the world. Okay. Show me a video of you performing. I don't want to. Oh, Craig's a terrible creator. Okay, show me a video of something you've created. I don't want to. Oh, okay, fair enough. Look, here's the thing. If you want to talk shit about me, then back it up. You're going to hide behind a fake account? I don't want to know. And it took me a while to remind myself about this. But I did remind myself. I'm fucking awesome. Bottom line, I'm awesome. I am absolutely awesome. Oh, Craig's got a massive ego. Yeah, I have. I've got a massive ego. I have got a massive ego, and I'm not the only person in this industry that has got a massive ego. But the bottom line is, you take all of my haters, every single one of them, and you line them up, and you take every single accomplishment that they've done between them. It won't come close to what I've done in 1 week. That's just a fact. And I'd love to see them step up. I'd love to see them come out the shadows and tell me who they really are. I'd love them to come out the shadows and say, you know what, I'm actually better than you and this is why. But they don't show me a video, they don't do any of that. So you know what, I don't pay their opinion interest. All I can do is carry on doing what I'm doing. I want to give back to the industry. I want to create content that I think will help people. Because here's the thing, I know the content I create on this channel helps people. The amount of messages from people say, oh, I've got into magic because of Craig, I've won this competition because of Craig, I've done this because of Craig. All of you people that have negative stuff to say about me, you haven't helped bring one person up. Instead, you push them down. And I was there, I know what it's like. I used to be that person. Well, now I'm trying to raise people up. You want to push people down. You try your very best. But I'm going to continue to push people up. And here's the thing. I've been spending most of my last few days on Zoom with people, sitting down with them and saying, right, okay, this is the atomic deck. Let me show you how to use it properly. Name another creator that does that. It doesn't happen. So I don't do rants on this channel anymore. I really don't. But every single one of you that had a negative thing to say about me, about how terrible I am, and you jump out the woodwork whenever there's a review that comes up, and by now there's probably another review from somebody else, and the same bunch of people will be commenting on that video and saying the same thing, and they'll be talking about how terrible Craig is and how terrible this trick is, whatever the case may be. Every single one of you, take every single one of your fake YouTube accounts, take every single one of your opinions that are based on you never showing a video of you performing, never showing a video of your creation, never showing anything. Take all of them. And then what I want you to do is ball them up into a ball. All right? So it's a nice, big, solid ball. But I want you to straighten that end. Polish it up so it's nice and shiny. And each and every one of you, one by one, systematically turn over and bend over. And then one at a time, ram it up your ass, because I'm not going anywhere. And just remember, if you've made a comment about me and you haven't said who you are and you've had to fake an account in order to tell me your opinion and you haven't even got the balls to put a video up of yourself performing, but you want to slag me off after everything I've accomplished, if that's you, I'm looking at you straight in the eyes and I'm telling you, man to man, I'm better than you. And I always will be. Okay, so the next question is from Josh Coleman, who says, hey Craig, I'm a big fan of your work on various gaff decks. Will you ever do a stripper deck project? I'd love to see what you come up with. One's in the works with Alakazam. I'm working on it right now. As it happens, I have behind me about 15 cans of, well, I actually have a can of Pepsi, but I have about 15 stripper decks. Belly strippers, normal strippers. I am actively working on the stripper deck project at the moment. I've got 30 different routines. I'm testing them out at the moment. We're still about a year away from it going live. But yes, you're welcome. The stripper deck project is coming soon. Okay, one final question. I think it's the last one actually, which is from Hungry and Hungover. It says, hey Craig, question for next time. Can you please do a review or a map test of Blank Vision by Mark Mason? Ever since your interview with him, I and many others are really interested in seeing a demo or more info on the release date. Thank you so much. Yes, I am going to be doing a video of a review of Blank Vision. We've already reviewed one of his releases at Blackpool, which went up on Wednesday. But we are going to be reviewing the other Mark Mason releases as well. Blank Vision will be amongst those. So watch out for it. It's coming. So there you go, guys. That's another video in the bag. Thank you once again for joining me right here on Magic TV. Thank you for joining me on the Q&A. Don't forget, there's a review show special later on this evening, so make sure you look out for that at 9 o'clock. We'll be back on Monday with another video, but I want to say thank you so much. Don't forget, you can join the Netrix. We've just uploaded another 5 routines, including my version of Max Maven's Wave called Petty's Wave. That's gone up this week. It's one of my favourite packet tricks. Never published that before. So make sure you check out the Netrix. I will see you again soon. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Craig, and this is Magic TV. And remember, if you've got a negative thing to say about me and you're hiding behind a fake username, you fucking suck.